Innovate. Enable.
India has seen a rapid growth in various sectors and is at the threshold of a digital revolution. A number of industries have adapted to the technological change and have witnessed an optimum turnover over the years.
One, there is a huge pull from customers in terms of adopting digital in the enterprise. And that's very important because a redefined customer experience using digital, how you serve customers, how you communicate with customers, how you constantly innovate your services and products to actually excite customers is going to be one big area of change. I'm sure this will give you increased returns in terms of gaining market share, in gaining customer wallet share. And that is one big area by itself, including giving you returns on the brand, of course.
Do Big Symposium, presented by Tata Docomo Business Services and powered by CNBC TV 18, focuses on this technological change that can empower industry leaders in the SME sector across all verticals such as finance, human resources, marketing and many more to reap maximum profits for a business.
It's becoming a more and more important channel. The demographic that we have, especially in India, is using this smartphone, subscriptions are growing, all the known facts are in favor of digital. It's becoming an important channel, and it's a channel that has some unique abilities or benefits.
This year's theme, Digital Dividends, A Leader's Perspective, highlights the impact of merging new age technology with business prospects for the SME leaders, and this time we are in Ttsl Mumbai.
It's a platform to exchange views, get to know from other companies, their experiences, and I think it's extremely critical to sort of make it as engaging as possible, as interactive as possible.
Let's take a look at the significant points discussed at the Mumbai edition.
Welcome to the Do Big Symposium 2016, presented by Tata Docomo Business Services and powered by CNBC TV 18. Through this multi-city platform, it is our endeavor to bring both experts and industry leaders together to interact and discuss the potential of this digital era that we live in generating maximum business gains for SMEs. So we have one such expert amongst us today who will kickstart the proceedings this evening on a high note with nearly 30 years of experience in both pharma and FMCG sectors. Please welcome on stage Mr. Annaswamy Vaidheesh.
India is a very unique country where 70% of the healthcare is delivered through private. And that makes it harder from a point of view of how the healthcare is being delivered, because there are no integrated healthcare platform on which healthcare decisions are made. Because every physician takes a decision based on his or her experience. What technology has done, particularly in India as compared to any other part of the world, where today the patients take advantage of the evolving 45% of the healthcare traffic that happens in an internet search engine is related to healthcare in India. Most of the people go and search information on the website, anything related to, whether it is related to their parents or whether related to healthcare for themselves. So there is a huge amount of information search that happens in relation to healthcare. 7 years back, the health insurance as a concept never existed as much as what it is today. 2006, it was 3,000 crores is the premium on health insurance. And today, it's almost 30,000 crores in about 10 years' time. And most of the consumption of health insurance today, people actually purchase health insurance through the internet, which you can never imagine. People didn't even know the meaning of health insurance. Today, people are evaluating what are the various options that are available through various apps. Thanks to technology and digital information that has happened, Today, the young people are taking health insurance, which you could never even imagine. Similarly, if you really look at the provider space, big change has taken place. I still remember there is open surgery used to take place where the poor patient in Sangli or Satara, who used to be having this big morbid condition of going through a gallbladder surgery or an appendix, and he has to be out of his work for almost 10 days, and if he happens to be a laborer, and the entire family used to wait for him to come back so that somebody has to earn the bread for the family. Today, in 24 hours, the same patient can get a laparoscopic surgery. In fact, sometimes people do get robotic surgery that is being given to the same patient on a radical prostatectomy, where you get the standard of care. It's being available to, these are all real technology marvels that are happening that are making a big difference to the common man, what we call the mass for the masses, minimal access surgery for the masses. It has transformed in the last 10 years' time.
Another round of applause for Mr. Vaidesh, please. Well, he was with us in 2015 and all previous editions of this symposium. He's been with the Tata Group for the last 20 years in roles across hospitality, IT, and now telecom. I'd like to invite on stage Mr. Pratik Pashine, who's President Enterprise for Tata Docomo Business Services, to address today's symposium. Pratik.
Companies across sectors are defining what their vision is, what role digital plays, and also what is the key driver that is driving this digital agenda. Is it operational efficiency? Is it my customer experience? So fine, I am now going to drive my digital agenda. I've created a separate company. What do I do to get that done? How do I create this setup? And there comes the emergence of a role called the Chief Digital Officer. 2 years back, if somebody would have talked of that we have a Chief Digital Officer in place, people would have asked, what does that guy do? And you will see as to how companies are creating this role and hiring CDOs to run their digital agenda. New York City, Sri Srinivasan was earlier actually the Chief Digital Officer of Metropolitan Museum. So you see a museum, you see manufacturing, you see education, you see healthcare. The international examples of CDOs, companies who have kind of felt the need to appoint a CDO. India is not far behind, in fact ahead. These are Indian companies. We have Uma here with us, who's going to be a speaker very soon. She is the Chief Digital Officer of Raymond. And there are many more. And more importantly, look at that. 20% of Indian companies are creating a leadership position called the CDO to drive the digital agenda against 9% that's happening globally. What are the other skill sets that I need to bring this digital organization alive? And you will see roles now which says 3D print technician, virtual reality designer, digital anthropologist, user experience manager. Roles that didn't exist just again 2-3 years back. If you would have talked about this, you would have said this is some science fiction organization. It doesn't exist, probably exists in NASA. But these are the roles that are getting created. And if you think it may not be that true, maybe it's too far-fetched, let's look at the hottest jobs that are getting defined by LinkedIn. LinkedIn identifies 25 hottest skills that are fetching dollars worldwide. And those are cloud distribution computing, statistical analysis and data mining, marketing campaign management, web architecture and development. 8 of these 25 hottest skills are skills required to create a digital organization. So these are in short supply. These are the jobs that will shape, create a digital organization tomorrow.
Pratik has thrown the gauntlet in terms of, as we say, eating your own dog food, which is technology guys should use technology, not just talk about it. So we're going to, if he's set the agenda, I'm going to ask the audience to join in as well. So our first question of the evening, which we'd like you to give us an input in. Do you have a digital vision and a strategy that is both communicated and known to all employees? Simple answer, yes or no. We've got a great panel. I'd like to introduce on stage to, of course, discuss and bring the perspective that these leaders have on digital dividends. In no particular order, I'd like to first, of course, invite Prateek back on stage. We've got Uma Talreja, who's the Chief Digital Officer at Raymond's Limited. We've got Ajay Arora, who's the Managing Director at T-Decor Home Fabrics. And we've got Kamal Gyanchandani, who's the CEO of PVR Pictures and also Chief of Strategy at PVR Limited. A round of applause for our panel. Okay, my first question is to Uma, of course. You've got the designation that Prateek talked about. Very interesting. But different organizations tend to define it in different ways. So just give us a sense of what your role is and how the organization decided that this role is essential at Raymond.
The way this role has been crafted is that it has some very interesting elements in terms of how it's going to operate and cut across the organization. So at the base level, what it does is it raises the floor in terms of digital capability in the organization through certain activities that you want to seed in. However, the structure is actually enabled to create inorganic growth through digital areas across the businesses. So whether it is setting up a new sales channel, whether it's looking at processes which actually impact customer experience, customer service, or even redesigning the customer experience in the store, the role actually leads all such strategies within the organization. That's really the intent of creating this role. Some of the interesting components, because we talked of the organization that we've created within the role is, for example, I have within my team a growth hacking team, which is an interesting combination of an analyst, a marketer, and a scientist, data scientist, which is coming together to see what are the new innovations that we can actually develop to cut across the organization. And it could range from, CRM platforms to apps at the basic level.
So it's well beyond just the traditional social media, and we handle Twitter and Facebook for the company.
The digital team does not handle social media in Raymond. Marketing handles social media in Raymond. Right. The digital is aimed at business transformation and looks at processes across.
Ajay, traditional business, we heard Prateek talk about people associating digital with the new age startups of the world. But you guys have been doing some phenomenal stuff, you were telling me earlier, both at the shop floor level and at the customer-facing level. Just give us a sense of your journey over the last 20 years. You've grown your business almost 100 times. Very, very impressive. Give us an overview.
We credit a lot of our success to relying on digital stroke, what was earlier called IT. We've been using it in the traditional sense for CAD and CAM at a certain stage in the early days, then moved on for supply chain management, running robotic warehouses, putting up a web portal for B2B customers, and then now graduating to talking to the consumer, changing the experience.
Kamal, movie business at one level, very cutting edge in terms of adopting technology ahead of time. At one level, competing with the Netflixes of the world. Should I watch it streaming or should I go to a movie theater? But yet, we all love the apps that let us book our tickets online. So you've got sort of technology in different contexts to use. How do you balance all this? How do you see the immediate future panning out?
Film business has been rapidly transforming itself to adapting digital technologies. At the back end, at the upstream, I'm on the exhibition side, so we run multiplexes, we also do distribution. But at the upstream side where we produce films, we use digital cameras, so we don't have any raw stock or any sort of reel. It's all shot on digital cameras. We put it on digital files, we send it to cinemas, we ingest it into a server and it plays back onto the screen. So there is no reel as we used to have in the traditional world. And I guess this is not just true for film business, but any sort of television business and of course digital platform. Content is now fully digitized on all platforms.
But today we are seeing with this, some people have dubbed it JAM, which is Jan Dhan, Aadhaar, mobile, the whole India stack with UPI and stuff coming in. It almost seems as if the ecosystem is now in place for it to really go mainstream. So are you seeing, people sort of gearing up for this, taking advantage of this?
Absolutely. And I think as a service provider, we've got a ringside view of digital adoption. That's seen in the way our customers are talking to us, the way they are consuming our products, the frequency with which they are overhauling their network, their connectivity, their platform. Because I think that recognition is there among corporates that This is here we can truly leverage the dividends, and that's being seen in terms of kinds of products that we are talking to our customers with, what kind of products they're consuming, the frequency with which they're consuming it. So there's a absolutely rapid pace of networking, connecting, getting applications, and I think there's a significant race that's out there. Yes, there are some who are ahead of the curve, but I think we're seeing it in terms of kinds of companies who are talking to us. It's no longer the biggies, guys who have established themselves, who are consuming these products. In fact, technology is enabling even the startup to be at a level where it can compete with the biggies.
On your Do Big app, do answer our second question of the evening, which is, do you see your organization appointing a chief digital officer in the next 12 months? Any questions for any of our panel members? Yes.
My question to Uma especially, how is our relation with the CIO of the company?
So what is your designation at the company, sir?
I'm CIO.
There you go. So,
If I'm not mistaken, our IT head is in the audience, but I'm not very sure he was supposed to be here. It's excellent. We work hand in hand, and I don't think there's a day that we don't sit together and share with each other what our plans are, what we are implementing, what we can assist each other with, what we don't need each other for as well. Yeah.
Have you guys started considering entrepreneurship seriously? Like, I know that companies, especially medical ones in America, they will literally try to coax executives into becoming entrepreneurs by offering $1 million prizes. Like, you get a $1 million grant within the company to start your own cell based around a special project. So I think the fourth person who's going to be the next big person is the director of special projects.
Or director of innovation,
Yeah.
chief innovation officer.
I think the way we are approaching this is, we are calling it Engine 1.0 and Engine 2.0. So Engine 1.0 is your current business. Engine 2.0 is new business models, new ideas. And we're actually using, the best people in the company to go on and start driving Engine 2.0. Because we feel, it's not only about an idea, which is coming from a 25-year-old. It's also about the sum total of experience that is required to convert a new business model into profits and growth.
Do fire up that Do Big app, and I invite you to answer our next question, which is, what stage of digital strategy implementation is your organization at? And we're looking at choices of not yet started, initial stages, or well advanced. Net challenges, bumpy road, but no option anymore because customers demand it, competition is pushing you in that direction. It's the future.
Absolutely, and since there are no blue books which you can refer to, I think I encourage our customers, CXOs, CIOs to talk to one another to learn best practices.
Consumers are dictating it. Consumers are sort of telling businesses to adopt digital technologies in order to make the whole experience seamless, convenience, give them more choice. And I think companies who recognize this signal from the consumers would probably change their business models, the way they monetize their services, and reap dividends, and companies which don't would definitely suffer.
Thanks so much. Thank you to all our panelists today for a great session. Let's have a round of applause for them.
Digital world is here to stay. Earlier we used to think of digital is another tool in our real world, but actually today has become a digital world where we need to figure out how we are going to participate. We keep talking about digital dividend. Actually, the dividend is already exists.
Focus, ideate, innovate, enable.